Hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. As if they make the wrong move and coach shit. See me, they like, ooh, keep on shopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gon' stop it. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. I'm on my way. Coming up on my double shit. They see me, they like, ooh, keep on shopping. I'm on my body. Real niggas right beside me. Damn right, I brought my army, going up like a rocket. Can't nobody stop me. These niggas garbage, so watch your mouth, boy. Coming all black, slithering house, call me mouth, boy. I'm off the hip like a cowboy. I'm a king, you should bow, boy. Shorty like that, man, you cut up. Nothing I can handle. 144 with the booth, going Rambo. Niggas do you dirty like a stick in a bando. So I play the corner like a bum with a banjo. I'ma lead by example. Keep on stopping, got this bitch off the hand, got this juice, got the drip, about to hit the bitch with the soap. It ain't rap, this is soap. Can't taste a bitch unless you with the coke. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. As if they make the wrong move and coach shit. Coming up on my double I do it how a veteran be. You better than me. I'm Reggie at the edge of the key. It's all money, no honey. Think you settling? See, you locked up, fuck up, and it's back to the streets. It's One West. You can check the residency. I reside with soldiers died on the soles of their feet. Cause there's death before designer. Ain't no coward in me. Cause I'm cold as a bitch's shoulder. You ain't calling a week. Get the cooking on his beat. Hope you like it well done. Got them killers rolling with me and they all red rum. Got you fucking scared some. Get the banging on his beat till my fucking head numb. Black block, red drum, black and yellow air ones. Homie, you ain't got a vest. I suggest you wear one.
Told these niggas we was going up. Doing a lot of talking. Now these niggas ain't saying shit.
Feeling like a legend in this shit, lil nigga. I'm past veteran. Never feeling third, lil nigga. I'm past second. Guns, I gotta have them all like Ash Ketchum. Shotty break a nigga ribs up like his wife left him. We all stepping, kill you with kindness cause I'm dead nice. That 5'7" put you 6 feet, not talking height. That judge giving out 5, what you do in life. These hands are rude GPS, a mean right. That's mean right, we build different, you know the vibes. And we stamped it authentic, we notarized. I keep a 144 because I know a kind. Noah's Ark, you know I'm with animals when we flowing by. We back again, no cap, when I'm with Cap again. Yeah, they said they want smoking, so we matching them. Everything righteous, so you know when we get back at them, you get hit up with a K, but no acronym. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. As if they make the wrong move and coach shit. See me, they like, ooh, keep on shopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gon' stop it. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. I'm on my way. Coming up on my double shit.
All jokes aside, you know how niggas be like, I'm this and that for life, this and that for life. I'm One West for life, nigga, this a blood oath. Hey, yo, Madara, here go a class for you, my nigga. 140 for the rebel. The world turned its back on me. I'm a crippling. We got soldiers, he got soldiers, but I got different ones. Ain't no way out, I tell you once. Don't pray for nothing, sin and curse. We can't forgive what's forbidden. Remain in them trenches. Trust in the Lord, but please forgive me for the times that I did. If rank is given, have your respect to your apprentice. Be about your business. This loyalty's a damn sentence. Look, trying to pick up with a blind fit. They said there'll be many mansions. I'm just grinding for my time share. Them devils ain't playing fair. They hunt you like Van Pelt, but ain't no getting out the game like Jumanji. You take that oath, it's a Dundee. They try to deal death to a priest. You won't make it out in one piece. So you can stand. Just make sure you got the heart. Say your name 3 times and it's death do us part. No. So how you feel about this truth I done shown? This ain't the like you think, little nigga. I should want. Even your own people go this zone. And the Lord said they hate you for my name. So you better keep it on. Ain't no more guessing. Ain't no more questions. Make sure my election till I'm tucked away like George Jetson. Murder for capital, now it's murder at the Capitol. The world in amazement, we like fuck 'em, raise it. I pity those watching life as it goes by. Be giving mercy in his life, I don't know why. In pump smoke, never try to. The dead at home, my brother be the dead and soldado. In the photo, salute my nigga. They like, how you stay focused? I told them I'm motivated cause of you, my nigga. Brotherhoods and weapons, still got weapons on the scene. Now I never do my niggas like Bishop did Raheem. Never mind in all beliefs, they under anesthesia. Shorty say she need me, say she wanna let that love go. Told I let that love grow. But if I bring you to my bed, that's a blood So, how you feel about this truth out of show? This ain't the life you think, you nigga. I should want even your own people gon' disown. And the Lord said they hate you for my name, so you better keep it on. Yeah.
You understand? You done found a new breed of Hebrews that stand and walk with the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And we don't care who we got to come up against. You ain't standing before this truth. You understand? We done took them all on and gonna continue to take them all on.
Surrounded by Edomites, lost a lot of truth to this tree of life. Open up the book just to see I'm right. Reminiscing on my ancestors, on those ships who had to plead for life. Took us to a place where ain't never safe there. Poisoning our foods and put our children up in daycare. Fresh out of slavery, still thinking that they care. Guns in the community, children can't play there. Brothers still brainwashed, we died for that same cost. Took away our history, believing that we ain't lost. Brother, I'm an Israelite, sin is like kryptonite. Brothers won't pray, no, they rather link a chick tonight. Praises to the Most High, I ain't like most guys. Eyes on the future, but I learned from a boat ride. Tribe of Benjamin, inherited on both sides. Background Jamaican, mistreated and I know why. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
Kwam Yasha Allah, sons of the power. Rise from the ghetto when Satan want us devoured. The seal of the Lord ain't found in church towers. Never dying on my knees like no coward. Wanna be an Israelite, you gon' need more than fringes. You gon' need to show you approve and get in them scriptures. Oh, I forgot to mention, traumatized from the lynching. Homicide, we the victim. Homicide ain't the ending. Kids with PTSD, suffering symptoms. Never getting treatment, something he gotta sleep with. Stockholm syndrome so long, it ain't a secret. That's why I die for them brothers I'm facing east with. Cause I'm an Israelite, crackers better get it right. Visions of my enemies, death flow through my dreams at night. If your mind ain't there, then we don't dream alike. Reporting live from hell, home of Christians and Edomites.
I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
While they play the sidelines, comfortable on benches. Catch me on the front lines, putting work in trenches. Making sure our election, preparing for Armageddon. Mastering this profession of prophesying these lessons. Protecting our adolescents and answering all their questions. Teaching the love they reflection, no matter what the complexion. We got a common connection, a part of God's hand selection. A shot at the resurrection, through us achieving perfection. But to give life takes sacrifice. Battle demons every fight. Short days and long nights. Less sleep and more fights. More wisdom, more strife. Telling everybody that they wrong and you're right. I'm an Israelite, blood of an Israelite. I ride for my Israelites and die for my Israelites. We owe a debt cause Christ paid the price. So who ready to give their life the life of an Israelite?
I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. One Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
According to God, the white man is the devil.
See, I've been in here for a little minute. You know what I'm saying? And I see niggas, they like to talk a lot. They like to claim leadership. They like to claim this and that. You know what I'm saying? They like to be above what they really is and have authority. But they don't really need that authority. They don't really know what to do with that leadership. You understand? You hold hands with this white ass. Need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. See, everybody ain't with all that peace talk. Everybody ain't with all that. Let bygone be. Boy, ask you to stop and ask you to drop. It's about to get serious. When they hit us with dope and kill us with crack, where the fuck with your leaders? I'm curious. He cashed out on your blood, traded you in and bought a new biz. Ask you the prophets, I tell you the scheme. If you don't wake up, you gon' die in your dreams. I say you won't tell you no more. I swear these crackers try to kill us slow. Just spoke to a nigga and fed he up for parole because of the COVID. It feel like the host in this world that don't go together. Nowhere is gold in the ghetto. I'm in the city blazing with my niggas. Just told the devil the score never settled. See the prophets. I'm tired of these niggas keep talking about, you respect my religion, I respect your religion. Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the props. Like we all come together. You know what I'm saying? They say God so loved the world. God so loved the world. And boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the props. Don't give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. Hey, gentlemen, y'all, we don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up. You know what I'm saying? Boy, your ass need to stop and ask shit. One would step up solid for show. To the fake niggas, stay silent. I got it, let's go. I ain't taking no losses. Ain't no talking when we got the flow. Ain't no peace, just play with you. I'ma be loyal to the right arm. Tell him we can't keep me slave. And I can never let bygone be bygone. Got your baby mother on high. Got your baby pants through the fire. Ask you the prophets. That baby so below to the Lord. How dare you abort it? You never will fail you, bitch. I can afford it. I prepare slaughter, you bring my water. Push your leaders weak, let them lies slip through their teeth. Their ass need to stop and ask you the prophets.
That's just the reality, Christians. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings. I know your pastor lied to you every Sunday for 30 years, but that's what the church is for, lying. That's why they exist, to lie the money out of your pockets.
Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We don't pray on our knees. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. ISUPK presents Ask Ye the Prophets weekly podcast.
Every race in the movie.
We are not the trust. We are not the trust. We are trusted, and we are not the trust.
Send in your questions to AskYeTheProphets@gmail.com or Ask Ye the Prophets on Facebook. And your questions will be answered live every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shalom.
He speaketh of his own. The white man made himself be the Egyptians and the Israelites. And the virgins. Every race in the movie. Clap it up. Most High in Christ, Most High in Christ. Shalom. Shalom, everybody. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another episode of Ask Ye the Prophets. If everybody can hear me good, just type in some ones, just to make sure we good to go on the audio. You understand? Again, Ask Ye the Prophets is a show that we going to anything that's in your mind, any question, any thought, any thing you want to explain. You can send it on into Ask Ye the Prophets @gmail.com or DM us on the Facebook Ask Ye the Prophets, or just ask your questions during one of the shows. And we try to get to it on the following show. You understand? Tawada Tazalai, she said one, we good to go. So I'm gonna get right into it because we got a lot to go over today. Today I'm gonna go over a question a brother had.
And then I'm gonna go into the history of the world wars. You understand? Which a lot of black and brown people, just because it ain't been our business, you understand? We a lot of times don't we never really learned about the world wars or really cared in school learning about world wars that really didn't affect our immediate life. Crack was affecting us. You understand? Heroin was affecting us. Parents strung out on pills and all that. That was affecting us. Gun violence in the neighborhood, can't wear certain colors. You understand? Can't go to certain neighborhoods. That was affecting us. You understand? What happened in World War I really ain't affect our immediate lives. So black and brown people, we grow up, with our minds not on those type of things, but those things played a great part in history, leading all the way up into what we see going on in the news now, and it's all Bible prophecy. All of it's Bible prophecy. So first, I'm gonna start with the brother's question. Let's get that first question. Go into that.
This question is from Sakan Ban Yahawada. Shalom Adawan. If I could get a breakdown of First Ezra chapter 3 and verse 12, Baba Kashaw, why Bawada in advance, sir.
No sweat, no sweat. You're on the bar, mighty man. Let's get it. First Ezra, 3rd chapter, and the 12th verse. First, I'm gonna read the question. I'm gonna read this verse, and then I'm gonna go to the beginning just to break it down and give understanding on it. You understand? And I understand why young men or brothers is reading this for the first time. It could blow their mind, and you'll see why. Read it.
This is the book of First Ezra, chapter 3 and verse 12. The third wrote, women are strongest.
Women are strongest. That'll blow a young man's mind when he read that. Women are strongest. That's in the Bible. What? What in the hell is this talking about? It said the third wrote, women are strongest. Go ahead.
But above all things, truth beareth away the victory.
But above all things, truth beareth away the victory. So to understand this, let's go. We got to go to the beginning to understand what was going on. Hop up to the first verse. The first verse. It says, the third wrote, women are strongest, but above all things, truth beareth away the victory. And don't be afraid, young man. Don't be afraid, brothers. You understand? You are still the head of the household. You understand? You are the head of the household. The brother was making a point here when he said women are strongest. And we'll read it. First verse.
This is the book of First Ezra, chapter 3 and verse 1.
And this is in the 1611 King James Bible. If you don't have a 1611 King James Bible, just get a hold of an apocrypha, which are the hidden books. You understand it? At some point in time, they separated from the Old and New Testament, but 1611 Bible has the apocrypha in it as it should be. And this is the book of First Ezra, 3rd chapter and the 1st verse.
Now, when Darius reigned, he made a great feast unto all his subjects.
So Darius was a heathen king, and at this time he showed favor to the Israelites. You understand? He wasn't a brute to the Israelite right now. The Most High, when we go into captivity, the Lord have mercy on us sometimes, and he'll put the spirit on our oppressors, you understand, to be kind to us at times. Then there's other times where we piss him off, where he'll just ignore us and turn his back on us. And then our oppressors destroy us. If it wasn't for the Most High, every nation on this earth, every ruler, every race would seek to destroy us. Pretty much how it is now in 2022. You understand? But any ruler, any nation, any heathen, any oppressor that's ruling over us, that's kind to us, that's because the Most High and put a spirit on him. He's having mercy on us. He's protecting us. And at this time, this King Darius, this heathen king, he was kind to Israel. Go ahead.
And unto all his household.
He did what? Read it from the top.
Now when Darius reigned, he made a great feast unto all his subjects.
So this is a king in charge. He had a party. He made a feast. He wanted to celebrate with all his subjects, all the people under him. He wanted to do something good for the people under him. Go ahead.
And unto all his household, and to all the princes of Media and Persia.
Right? All the princes of Media and Persia. He was ruler over Media and Persia. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And to all the governors and captains and lieutenants that were under him, from India unto Ethiopia.
And again, these are real places. You understand? From India to Ethiopia. He ruled all that area. Go ahead.
Of 127 provinces. Verse 3. And when they had eaten and drunken, and being satisfied, were gone home, then Darius the king went into his bedchamber and slept.
And so he turned in. He went to sleep. Go ahead.
And soon after awaked. Verse 4. Then 3 young men that were of the guard that kept the king's body.
So this is the security. This is 3 young brothers who, not brothers, but young men who were security for King Darius. They kept his body. You know what I'm saying? They protected him, kept him safe. They were his bodyguards, in other words. Go ahead.
Spake one to another. Verse 5. Let every one of us speak a sentence.
So they said, they was talking, you know, while they on duty, they talking. They said, hey man, I got an idea. Let all of us pick a sentence to say. Go ahead.
He that shall overcome and whose sentence shall seem wiser than the others, unto him shall the king Darius give great gifts.
And they said, listen, let's decide on a sentence to say. And whosever sentence or statement is the wisest, you understand? Let the king bless him and give him gifts and a whole bunch of rewards for having his statement be the wisest. Because once upon a time in the earth, wisdom did matter.
Right.
You understand? Wisdom didn't matter even to the heathens. Even to heathens, they wanted wisdom. Why do you think that heathen Queen of Sheba traveled all that way to meet Solomon? Because the earth heard about how wise this Israelite brother was and how he ran a kingdom in total wisdom and made judgments in total wisdom. And his fame spread because of his wisdom, man, which was given to him by the Most High. Why? Because King Solomon, when he became king, he asked the Most High not for riches, not for women, not for selfish pleasures. He said, Lord, give me the wisdom to rule this people, man, according to your spirit. Give me that wisdom, Lord. And the Lord was so pleased with his request, he gave him that wisdom. And he gave him riches. And he gave him women. And he gave him everything that his heart desired, because all he wanted was wisdom enough to rule the nation wisely. You understand? Wisdom used to be appreciated in the earth. But this bastard that's ruling over us today, he's like a retard, man.
Right.
He's like a retard. You understand? So they wanted to make these statements, and whoever's wisest, they're going to present them to the king, and the king will determine who's the wisest. Go ahead.
And great things in token of victory. Verse 6. As to be clothed in purple.
So these are the things they wanted. They're going to present this to the king. King, we didn't all made 3 wise statements. Let thy king, let yourself choose which is wisest, and whoever you picked is wisest, bless him with them good royal things that you know that we know you do so plentifully. You understand? They wanted purple, which was a sign of royalty, and you was above the rest. Go ahead.
To drink in gold.
They want to drink in gold. They want to have gold chalices and drink good wine. Read.
And to sleep upon gold.
Sleep on gold. They want so much of it, they just want to put it down on the bed and lay on it. Drop it on the floor, just lay on the gold. They want to be blessed so much for being the wisest of these 3. Go ahead.
And a chariot with bridles of gold.
Chariots with gold all on it. Go ahead.
And head tire of fine linen.
And head tire?
With
fine linen, man. Head pieces, clothing, you understand? Royal clothing, linen. Go ahead.
And a chain about his neck.
And a chain about his neck. They wanted to be flossing, man. Read.
Verse 7. And he shall sit next to Darius because of his wisdom.
And he shall get to sit next to Darius, man, because of his wisdom, because his saying, his statement was the wisest statement. Go ahead.
And shall be called Darius, his cousin.
And shall be called Darius, his cousin. They wanted to be rewarded for the king to let people know, this is my cousin, man. You understand? This is my cousin. It was a great blessing to be close to the king, to any king. You understand?
Right.
Read. That's how powerful the king is. It's like it's like people go crazy today to take a picture with the president.
Right.
They get it framed, they put it in their stores and their businesses to let everybody know, listen, I got close to the president. It's like, them, they're like he's God to the people. You understand? Read.
Verse 8. And then everyone wrote his sentence.
So now they went on and wrote their sentence. Go ahead.
Sealed it and laid it under King Darius, his pillow.
So they all made a wise statement, sealed it, and then gave it to the king. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And said that when the king is risen, some will give him the writings, and of whose side the king and the 3 princes of Persia shall judge that his sentence is the wisest.
And of whose side the king and the 3 princes of Persia shall judge that his sentence is the wisest. Whoever the king picked, the wisest statement. Go ahead.
To him shall the victory be given.
He's the winner. He's the winner. So it's like a bet in wisdom to see who can come up with the wisest statement. So wise that the king will say, yeah, this is the wisest here. Go ahead.
As was appointed. Verse 10. The first wrote, wine is the strongest.
So the first of the 3 young soldiers, the bodyguards, the protectors of the king, he wrote, wine is strongest. Wine is the strongest thing on the earth. Go ahead.
This verse 11. The second wrote, the king is strongest.
The second, he wrote down, the king is the strongest thing in the earth. Go ahead.
Verse 12. The third wrote, women are strongest.
The third wrote, women are the strongest thing on this earth. Read.
But above all things, truth beareth away the victory.
But it's the one thing that beats out even a woman. She's the strongest, but the one thing that defeats her is truth. Truth beareth away the victory. So these are their statements that they wrote down. Now I'm going to give you understanding as we read. Read.
Okay. Verse 13. Now when the king was risen up, they took their writings and delivered them unto him, and so he read them.
So the king read the writings. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And sending forth, he called all the princes of Persia and Media, and the governors, and the captains, and the lieutenants, and the chief officers.
So he called everybody. When he read these statements, he agreed to what they said. You understand? And agreed to what the winner would get. You understand? And when he read these things, he called all his people. He called all the princes of the Persians and the Medes. He called the governors. He called all the captains, the lieutenants, and the chief officers, the top officers. Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 15. And he sat down in the royal seat of judgment. And the writings were read before them.
So he sat down. He took a seat on his throne, the royal seat of judgment. You understand? And the writings were read before him. Go ahead.
Verse 16. And he said, call the young men, and they shall declare their own sentences.
Right. He said, call them in and let them break these statements down. What do they mean? So I can truly see whose was the wisest. Go ahead.
So they were called and came in. Verse 17. And he said unto them, declare unto your mind concerning the writings.
Declare unto us your mind. Break down what you meant by saying this thing. What do you mean wine is the strongest? What do you mean that the king is the strongest? And what do you mean that women are strongest, but truth beareth away the victory? Break these things down, or what's in your mind concerning these writings. Go ahead.
Then began the first, who had spoken of the strength of wine.
So the first young man who said wine is the strongest, he explained himself. Go ahead.
Verse 18. And he said thus, O ye men, how exceedingly strong is wine. It causeth all men to err that drink it.
And his reasoning was wine is the strongest thing on earth, because you drink wine, you drink enough wine, it causes men to err. The strongest men can make mistakes after they tasted some good wine and a certain amount of it. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 19. It maketh the mind of the king and of the fatherless child to be all one.
You see what he's saying? He said, you drink enough wine, the king gonna be just as goofy as a normal man, a fatherless child. You understand? It make the mind of the king and of the fatherless child be all one. Like a man with no children, a man with no responsibility. He get drunk and be goofy and do what he want. He's saying wine make the king act just like him, a young man. Read.
Of the bondmen and of the freemen.
Of the by make the king goofy just like a slave. Slave drink wine and get goofy. The king drink wine and get goofy just like him. It makes the king, it makes the young man with no children, it makes the servant, go ahead.
Of the poor man and of the rich.
It make them all act the same, this young brother is saying. So how could wine not be the strongest when it take down the damn king? You understand? It bring the king down unto a regular servant. The same mind as a servant, man. Everybody get drunk and everybody get goofy. That's what he's saying. Wine has that power. So it's the strongest is what he's saying. Read.
Verse 20. It turneth also every thought into jollity and mirth.
Jollity and mirth. Jolly is when you're happy and laughing. You understand? Sometimes you might be sad. And you go have yourself a drink, man, and make you feel better. You know what I'm saying? Make you feel better. You ain't as depressed no more. Something might happen, something bad or something sad. You know, you have a drink, you know, with your brothers, with your friends, and it might make you feel a little better. You start smiling. It fills you, it bring every thought into jollity and mirth. Go ahead.
So that a man remembereth neither sorrow nor debt.
Make you forget about your debt. You in debt, you struggling, you trying to get this money up to pay off your bills and your debt. You understand? You sorry, you lost somebody you love passed away, or you know, whatever, you lost your woman, she died, whatever. Something horrible happens. Wine, you understand, or that strong drink, you understand, make you feel better. Go ahead.
Khan. Verse 21. And it maketh every heart rich, so that a man remembereth neither king nor governor.
You have enough drinks, you hell. Make you forget where you're at sometimes. Make you forget where you're at if you're undisciplined. That's his point. You drink enough wine, you forget you with the king. You start acting goofy, embarrassing yourself. You forget you with dignities like the governor, being embarrassed yourself. Go ahead.
And it maketh to speak all things by talents.
And it maketh to speak all things by talents, man. By talents. It make you just you say things you would not normally say. You understand? In front of dignitaries, in front of authority. Go ahead.
Verse 22. And when they are in their cups, they forget their love both to friends and brethren.
Go ahead.
And a little after draw out swords.
And sometimes that drink make you fight. Sometimes it make you fight. You understand? When you got no discipline, that would you drink and drink. And sometimes if you ain't disciplined, you know, you get the you want to fight. Okay, man, shut up, man. Watch your mouth. Don't say that to me. Don't say that to me. Then say it again. I'll punch you in the face. Say it again. I'll punch you right in the face, man. You better sit your ass down if I knock you out. Now you about to scrap with your buddy. You done forgot. This your buddy. This your friend. This your brother. Why? Because he's saying liquor, drink, strong liquor, wine, and strong drink is so strong that it make you forget the love of your friends and your brothers. And a little after, you draw out swords. Y'all get to fight. Go ahead.
Verse 23. But when they are from the wine, they remember not what they have done.
But once the wine wear off, once you sleep it off and you wake up and you sober, sometimes that wine was so strong, you don't even remember what happened. You understand? They got medical terms for that today. You understand? I forget they call it, I think one term is called wet brain. That's an actual term, medical term. Look up wet brain. They tell you about people who drink do out of order things, and then when you ask them about it, man, you was wrong for what you did. They do not remember. They just don't remember. You understand? They don't remember. It said, but when they are from the wine, when they're done and sober, they remember not what they have done. Read. That's strong. You understand? That's his point. He believed wine is strongest because it does all this to great men, no matter who you are. Read.
Verse 24. O ye men, is not wine the strongest that enforceth to do thus? And when he had so spoken, he held his peace.
And that was his point before the king and the governors and the princes. Wine is strongest because it makes everybody goofy and out of order. It has that power to make from the king to the low servant out of order, saying goofy things, acting goofy, and fighting the ones they love. That's the power it has. So he believes it's strongest. Go ahead.
This is the book of First Ezra, chapter 4 and verse 1. Then the second that has spoken of the strength of the king began to say.
So now the second one, remember, he said he think the king is the strongest thing on the earth. And so he began to break it down. Go ahead.
Verse 2. O ye men, do not men excel in strength that bear rule over sea and land and all things in them?
He said, do not men excel in strength that bear rule, the rulers, the king. Go ahead. Well, the rulers, the people that's in charge of seas and lands and all the things that's in them. Read.
Verse 3. But yet the king is more mighty.
But yet the king is over all of them. You might have strong men that own land and properties and different things and, command armies and all of that. But the king is stronger than all of them because he commands them.
Right.
The king is the top guy. You understand? He's the one in charge. So this brother's explaining how the king is the strongest because of that reason. Read.
For he is Lord of all these things, and have dominion over them.
Right.
And whatsoever he commandeth them, they do.
And whatever the king tell him, man, I don't care how much land he got and what he owns, he got to obey that king.
Right.
He have to obey that king or lose his life.
Right.
Read.
Verse 4. If he bid them make war the one against the other, they do it.
They do it. If he tell this guy who own this land, listen, man, gather your army together and I want you to go and fight them over here. That's the order. He got to do it. The king gave the order. He has to do it. He can bid them to make war against one another. They can lose their life. They got to put their life in harm because the king told them to. Go ahead.
If he send them out against the enemies, they go. And break down mountains, walls, and towers.
And break down, right. They destroy cities at the command of the king. Armies go destroy cities at the command of the king. You understand? Right now, Putin is the king of Russia.
Right.
You understand? And he commands his armies to bomb the hell out of Ukraine. You understand? And they go do it. They go do it. Read.
Verse 5. They slay and are slain.
They kill and they are killed themselves. Go ahead.
And transgress not the king's commandment.
And they don't break the king's order. The king commanded it, they go do it. Whether they kill, they go kill, or whether they are killed. They obeying the orders of the king. Read.
If they get the victory, they bring all to the king.
Damn right. And if they win and get the riches and get the spoils, they bring it back to the king, and the king does with it what he wants. What he wants. Now that's power. That's strong. That's strong. Read.
As well the spoil as all things else.
And everything they get in this war, the king get first dibs, man. He get to say what happens to it. The women, everything. You understand? Read.
Verse 6. Likewise, for those that are no soldiers and have not to do with wars, but use husbandry, when they have reaped again that which they had sown, they bring it to the king.
And even if you're not a soldier, even if you're the everyday man living and working and you got businesses, you're running your businesses, you ain't going to other lands killing and being killed, but you got land, you got businesses, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you sow, whatever you producing, whatever you making, your profits in your business, you bring it to the king. Go ahead.
And compel one another to pay tribute unto the king.
And you pay tribute unto the king. In America, they call it taxes.
Right.
In America, you pay taxes to this government, man, and you got no choice. And if you try to avoid it, they'll put you in a damn cage.
Right.
You understand? It's the law. Why? Because the king commands it. And he's the most powerful. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And yet he is but one man.
Mm-hmm.
If he command to kill, they kill.
And listen, that's how much power he got. If he say, listen, go kill, you go kill. Go ahead.
If he command to spare, they spare.
And if he say, don't kill him, you better not kill him. Read, where you at?
Verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
If he command to smite, they smite.
Go ahead.
If he command to make desolate, they make desolate.
Right.
If he command to build, they build.
Right.
Verse 9. If he command to cut down, they cut down.
Uh-huh.
If he command to plant, they plant.
Because he is the commander. He is the king. He gives the orders. And everybody under him, everybody else is under him, and their job is to obey the orders. Read.
Verse 10. So all his people and his armies obey him.
There you go. Go ahead.
Furthermore, he lieth down, he eateth and drinketh, and taketh his rest.
Uh-huh.
Verse 11. And these keep watch around about him.
And he got men that protect him with their lives. They make sure he's safe by putting their life in danger and protecting the king. Go ahead.
Neither may anyone depart and do his own business.
And you can't just go out and live your own life, because the king is the most important thing in life. You understand? So you protecting him, you watching him, you making sure he's safe, you making sure his orders are followed, and you making sure he has everything that he wants and needs. You understand? Your woman might want to see you tonight. Nope, I gotta make sure the king is all right. Your family might want to go on a trip with you, have you at home on a particular night. I gotta make sure the king is right. I'm not doing my own business. My business is to make sure this king is all right. Go ahead.
Neither disobey they him in anything.
And nobody disobeys the king. That's power. That's power. That's his point. That he got to be the most, the strongest. Listen to all of what he command. Everything and everybody obeys him. Go ahead.
Kawakan. Verse 12. O ye men, how should not the king be mightiest, when in such sort he is obeyed?
How can he not be the strongest, the mightiest, when he's obeyed in this fashion, when everything and everybody obeys him? Go ahead.
And he held his tongue.
And he was done. He said, that's my proof. That's my explanation, O king. Go ahead.
Verse 13. Then the third who had spoken of woman and of the truth, this was Zorobabel, began to speak. Verse 14. O ye men, it is not the great king nor the multitude of men.
And the brother's question was with this the third one. You understand? We'll get it. He said the third one who had spoken of women, he said women was the strongest. And of the truth, he was Zerubbabel, and he began to speak. Go ahead.
O ye men, it is not the great king nor the multitude of men, neither is it wine that excelleth. Who is it then that ruleth them?
Right.
Or have
he said it ain't the king, it ain't the multitude of men, it ain't the armies that the king commanded, it ain't even the wine that's the strongest. That's what that excelleth means. They not the strongest. Who is it then that ruleth over them? Who rules over the king? Who rules over the multitude of men, the soldiers and all that there? Who rules over them? Read.
Or have the lordship over them?
Or who's the boss of them? Go ahead.
Are they not women?
Ain't it the woman? Don't women rule over the king? Ain't she the boss of all those hardcore killers and soldiers? Don't women have the power and ability to make even the most strongest killer be soft and sweet and intimate? That's his point. Go ahead.
Verse 15. Women have borne the king and all the people that bear rule by sea and land.
All of them, the king, all the soldiers, the armies, guess what? They all come out of women. They all come out of women. All them that bear rule and rule land and sea, they all had mothers.
Right.
They changed their behinds and kissed them on their little heads and
Right.
fed them. They all had mamas. Go ahead.
Verse 16. Even of them came they, and they nourished them up and planted the vineyards.
And they nourished them kings up and all them killers and soldiers. A woman nourished them up and brought them up and raised them. Go ahead.
From whence the wine cometh.
And they nourished them up that planted the vineyard. All the people that planted the vineyard made that wine and grew them grapes and put that wine together, you know what I'm saying? And let that wine marinate and age and all that there. From whence, that's where the wine come from them. And guess what? They had mothers that raised them.
Right.
And brought them up. And they depended on their mothers at some point. You
Right.
understand? Read.
These, verse 17, these also make garments for men. They bring glory unto men.
Right. They make the man glorious because they make his garments and make him look good and make all his royal things and the jewelry and all that there. They do that. And that's how kings get their glory, man, because they look so good. They look so good. They dress their armies up. They dress their servants up, dress the horses up. You understand? Women make these garments and clothing. Go ahead.
Right.
That's his point. Read.
And without women cannot men be.
And without women, it can't be no men. You understand? Because we need them women, to grow that seed. You understand? Right. We need them women, to put our royal seed in so it can grow and be nurtured by that belly. You understand? That's women. Without women, it can't be no men. Read.
Right. Verse 18. Yea, and if men have gathered together gold and silver, or any other goodly thing,
right?
Do they not love a woman which is comely in favor and beauty?
You see what he's saying? He said, if men have gathered together gold, they conquer and get gold and get riches and get silver or other goodly things. Said, do they not love a woman which is comely in favor and beauty? They go spend that on women.
Right.
Buy nice things to please women. Much like today. Even your knucklehead drug dealer out here. He doing all that drug selling just to make some money to impress some woman.
Right.
He doing all that so he can buy the nicest clothes and sneakers and cars to impress women.
Right.
All your entertainers, your rappers, and all them there, they rapping and going on tour, talking about all the millions they make to get all them millions. Why? Just to have it to flaunt and impress women. You understand? That's the brother's point. All the things that men do, you understand, to gain riches and wealth and to look good and be glorious, they do it to impress and love a woman that they believe is beautiful and comely in favor and beautiful, man.
Right.
They do it to impress them. Oh, she beautiful. I'm going to show her that I'm the man. I'm the one she should choose. You understand? Look at me, baby. I'm flossing. So they go out and do all the type of things on the left-hand side nowadays to get money to impress some woman. Even if you got a normal, legit slavery, you understand? You got a slavery because you're trying to make some money to, get yourself a good woman and have a family. You understand? The woman is always on the man's mind, is this brother's point. She's always on a man's mind. Go ahead.
Come on. Verse 19. And letting all those things go, do they not gape and even with open mouth fix their eyes fast on her?
Right. Read that again. And letting all those things what?
And letting all those things go, do they not gape and even with open mouth fix their eyes fast on her?
Listen, he's saying women put men in a trance. You understand? Even with all those things that they got, you understand? All the riches, the glory, the lands, the seas, the power and authority, the ability to kill and conquer. You understand? They see a woman and that mouth drop up like, oh, damn, she bad. Whoa, look at that. You see that act? Oh my God, who is she? Excuse me, sis. Excuse me, baby. Come here. Can I holler at you for a minute? You know what I'm saying? Israel, start spitting that game because a beautiful woman blows a man's mind. You understand? That's why we needed our God to say, you know, stumble not at the beauty of a woman.
Right.
Paraphrasing, you understand? The Lord had to help us and
Right.
discipline us. You understand? So he said, read that last line again.
Kawakan. And letting all those things go, do they not gape and even with open mouth fix their eyes fast on her?
Fix their eyes on her, man. Read.
And have not all men more desire unto her than unto silver or gold?
Right. Because hell, they getting the silver and gold to get her.
Right.
You understand? They say, have not all men desire unto her than unto silver and gold? Yes. They rather have her than the silver or gold, because why? They telling her, look, you're gonna take some of that gold, take some of that silver. You know I'm the man. Where we going tonight? You understand? They part with that silver and gold to get her. You understand? Read.
Or any goodly thing whatsoever.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 20. A man leaveth his own father that brought him up, and his own country, and cleaveth unto his wife.
You see that? A man leaveth, you know what the Lord say. You know what I'm saying? He said, a man leave his mother and father to be with his woman, and they two shall be one flesh. A man, this brother said, he leaves his father that raised him and brought him up, man, who loves him. And he leave his own country. A man will relocate and cleave unto his woman, man.
Right.
Men will relocate to be with a woman, man, and please her and make her happy. Where you want to go, baby? You like the house over there? Where? Let's go look at them then, man. You like that area? You want to live in that area? Let's go see. You understand? We relocate for a woman that we love. Read.
Verse 21. He sticketh not to spend his life with his wife, and remembereth neither father nor mother nor country.
Go ahead.
Verse 22. By this also ye must know that
Meaning he doesn't stay where he is. He don't stick with his parents. He don't stick around his family. He don't stick in the place where he grew up at. He leaves. He sticketh not. Why? To spend his life with his wife. You understand? And he don't remember his mother and father or country no more. Meaning he know where he's from, but his priority is this woman, man, being with her and loving her and raising a family with her. Go ahead.
Verse 22. By this also ye must know that women have dominion over you.
Now, with all this, man, you got to understand. I'm sure all of you see that a woman has dominion over us. Go ahead.
Do ye not labor and toil and give and bring all to the woman?
You see that, right? Don't all of us labor and we toil and we hustle and we make ends meet and we make profits? We do all this and just to bring it to our women. Say, go on, baby, get things for the house, get something for the kids, fix up the house, get some food on the table, get all the things we need. You got enough? You need a little more? I'll be back later with some more. We bring her the spoils, man. We bring her the spoils. Read, that's what this brother's saying. Woman gotta be the strongest, because the strongest of men do outlandish and excel to do great feats and bring home the spoils and give it all to her. So she gotta be the strongest. Read.
Verse 23. Yea, a man taketh his sword and goeth his way to rob and to steal, to sail upon the sea and upon rivers.
Right. Pirates. He's talking about pirates and thieves, men who, ain't all the way right in their career.
Right.
They go rob, steal, and pillage. Read.
Verse 24. And looketh upon a lion and goeth in the darkness.
Listen, they face great danger, man. As a look up upon a lion, meaning they facing great danger, but they go do it. To take and steal and rob, they go off in the darkness. They ain't scared when it's dark. They do whatever they have to do to pillage and get what they want. Read.
And when he have stolen.
When he have stolen what he want, go ahead.
Spoiled.
Go ahead.
And robbed.
Go ahead.
He bringeth it to his love.
Once he done all that, he going back home now. Now he ready to go home. We get it. We got it. We got all the spoils. Look at this. We're rich men. They pack all that up, get on them boats and go back home. You understand?
Right.
Hoping that when they hit land, they family running out and they woman running out so she can see all that he got. Look at what I got, baby. I was nothing. You should have seen her. telling stories of his victories and how he got all this. You understand? All for her. All for her. Go ahead.
Verse 25. Wherefore a man loveth his wife better than father or mother.
You see that, right? Men don't go all out their way for their parents like they would for the woman they love. Go ahead.
Verse 26. Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women.
And woman so strong, it drives good men crazy. There's men that didn't go run out of their wits for a woman. Read.
And become servants for their sakes.
And become servants for their sakes, man. I'll tell you stories, even in the world, man. I knew a men who would hide from their woman, dreaded her coming home. She come home wondering where he had, hey, babe, where you at? Where you at? He in the bathroom hiding from her. He in the bathroom hiding from her, miserable, damn near about to break into tears because he got to dread her mouth and her being home. Some brothers live with monsters like that, you understand? And they drive you out of your wits. Some brothers just go crazy because of the beauty of a woman. And they know everybody else see her beauty. And hell, you ain't in the truth. It's a horrible thing, man, when you got a bad woman, because everybody in the neighborhood, and looking at her, whistling at her, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you single, baby? Hey, shorty, I show you a good job. Listen, this. Negroes in the world. You understand? So you damn near got to fight or hide her or something. You understand? You go crazy. Especially if she one of them ladies of the street. You understand? You done got yourself in with a woman who you thought you could calm down and tame, but she just ain't used to being tamed. Now you losing your mind, trying to check her phone, trying to guess her code and, checking her pockets, spying on her, following her, because you don't trust her. You're going crazy over this woman, man. You become servants for their sakes. Go ahead.
Verse 27. Many also have perished.
Many also have died, man. Many brothers lose their life over a woman, man. Fighting over some woman. You understand? Go ahead.
Have erred and sinned for a woman.
Done all type of things, man, to please a woman. Go ahead.
Verse 28. And now, do ye not believe me?
And after all that, y'all, I'm sure y'all believe me now. You believe me now, right? You see all the things that a woman make us do. And all the things we do for a woman, you got to believe that. You got to believe what I'm saying. Read.
Is not the king great in his power?
Ain't the king great in his power? Read.
Do not all regions fear to touch him?
Do not all, listen, this is another point he's making. He said, ain't the king great in his power? Ain't he the greatest? Do not all regions fear to touch him? Listen, you can't even touch the king without permission or you'll lose your life.
Right.
You understand? That's how much power he got. And this brother's saying he's so great in power, you can't even touch him. Read.
Verse 29. Yet did I see him and Apam, the king's concubine.
Yet and still, with all that power, I saw the king and his concubine. Read.
The daughter of the admirable Barticus, sitting at the right hand of the king.
I saw this all-powerful king and his concubine sitting on his right hand. Go ahead.
Verse 30. And taking the crown from the king's head.
And I saw this powerful king's concubine take his crown off of his head. Go ahead.
And setting it upon her own head.
Woo! And she took the crown off of this powerful king's head and put it on her head. Like, I'm the king, nigga. You understand? Put it on her head. Go ahead.
She also struck the king with her left hand.
And smacked the king with her left hand. She said, give me that crown. Put it on her head. Shut up, smack. Smack the king in the face. This is the all-powerful king who regions and armies fear to touch this king. His woman put his crown on her head and smacked him in the face. Go ahead.
Verse 31. And yet for all this, the king gaped and gazed upon her with open mouth.
And after she took his crown and put it on her head and smacked him in the face, he just was smiling how pretty she was. He was smiling and gaping because he loved this woman. Read.
If she laughed upon him, he laughed also.
And whenever she laughed, he would laugh with her. because he love her. He like when she's happy. Go ahead.
But if she took any displeasure at him, the king would feign to flatter.
But if he saw that he upset her or she was mad at him, he would try to cheer her up. He, what's wrong, baby? Come on, don't be like that. What? Come on, let's do this. Let's do that. Come on, baby. You understand? He would fight to please her and make her smile again. You
Right.
understand? Now that's, and he's the all-powerful king.
Right.
Yet and still, this woman is upset with him. He trying to shuck and dance to make her laugh and make her smile again. You understand? What verse?
Verse 31 at the end.
Go ahead.
That she might be reconciled to him again.
Right. So she can love him again and smile again. He goes out of his way to flatter her when she's disappointed. Go ahead.
Verse 32. O ye men, how can it be but women should be strong?
And that's his point when he said in the brother's question in the 3rd chapter. He said, "O ye men, how can it be but women should be strong?" Go ahead.
Seeing they do thus.
Seeing they got the power to do this to the most powerful.
Right.
How can a woman not be the strongest, seeing how she handled the king, man, and showed her power with the king? Go ahead.
Verse 33.
And you see another example of that in the story of Esther. The king, you come into his private area where the king is without permission, you was put to death. You understand? And Esther, trying to save Israel, she went into that area without permission. You understand? And when they all saw her, I know the servants was like, "Oh no, she's going to lose her life." But the king admired Esther and loved her beauty. He lifted up his staff, which meant for them to stand down. I approve of her being here. You understand? That's power. That's power. You know what I'm saying? When some women, they carry that kind of power. Because once again, the most powerful men love to see their beauty, man.
Right.
Especially you beautiful and you kind and you sweet. You talk sweet, know how to really be kind and sweet. Man, you'll get any warrior and king with power. You understand, to roll with you and make sure you good. You understand? So that's this brother's point. They gotta be the strongest, seeing that they do these things. You understand? Read.
Verse 33. Then the king and the princes looked one upon another.
They start looking at each other like, damn, he right. Damn, he might be right. The woman might be the strongest. What this brother is saying. Read.
So he began to speak of the truth.
And then he began to break down what he meant about the truth. Because remember, he said women are indeed strongest, but the truth, gets the victory in the end. Read on. What he said, he began to speak of the truth. Go ahead.
Verse 34. O ye men, are not women strong?
Uh-huh.
Great is the earth, high is the heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Swift is the sun in his course.
Right.
For he compasseth the heavens round about, and fetcheth his course again to his own place in one day.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
Verse 35. Is not he
talking about the sun? Go ahead. The heavens. Go ahead.
Is he not great that maketh these things?
Is he not great that maketh these things? Meaning the Most High. You understand? Great is the earth, high is the heaven, swift is the sun in its course, because the sun compasseth the heavens round about, and fetcheth his course again into his own place in one day. Sun come out and then it leave. It go back to where it came from.
Right.
All in a day. And then the brother said, is not he great that maketh these things? The Most High, God, the Creator. Go ahead.
Therefore, great is the truth,
Uh-huh.
and stronger than all things.
Therefore, great is the truth and stronger than all things. Go ahead.
Verse 36. All the earth called upon the truth.
Crieth upon the truth. Good. Read it again.
All the earth calleth.
You got caller? Okay, I got crieth. Salaki. Same thing. Go ahead.
All the earth calleth upon the truth.
Uh-huh.
And the heaven blesseth it.
And the heaven blesses it. Go ahead.
All works shake and tremble at it.
Uh-huh.
And with it is no unrighteous thing.
Go ahead.
Verse 37.
And that's the truth. Is no unrighteous thing with truth. You understand? Read.
Wine is wicked. The king is wicked.
Uh-huh.
Women are wicked,
Go ahead.
and the children of men are wicked.
All things are wicked compared to the truth. That's this brother's point. Compared to the truth, everything is wicked. The king, he makes mistakes. Women, they make mistakes. Children, they err and they make mistakes. Read.
And such are all their wicked works,
Uh-huh.
and there is no truth in them.
Right.
And their unrighteousness also they shall perish.
In their unrighteousness also they shall perish. Go ahead.
Verse 38, as for the truth, it endureth.
The truth endures. We know that in the ISUPK. Since 1969, the truth been enduring. Since the time of Christ, all that truth that he taught and spoke is still enduring in 2022.
Right.
All the truth that Moses spoke, man, during his time, all the truth that the prophets spoke, King David, King Solomon, all that truth of the Old Testament is still strong and living strong in 2022, man. The truth, it endureth. Go ahead.
And is always strong.
And is always strong. Read.
It liveth and conquereth forevermore.
It liveth and conquereth forevermore. Go ahead.
Verse 39. With her there is no accepting of persons or rewards,
Uh-huh.
but she doeth the things that are just.
Right, because the Most High is truth. You understand? His
Right.
word is truth, and he teaches how to do things that are just. You understand? There are laws and rules on how to do things that are just, and when it comes to judgment, you don't accept persons or rewards when it comes to judgment.
Right.
You don't accept payoffs. You understand? To make a certain judgment in a certain way. You know, you get more money or gold or something, you get paid off. You don't show favor to somebody because they in a high position over somebody in a low position. Even though they're wrong, you still show favor to them. No, you don't do none of that.
Right.
That's not the truth. When it comes to truth, you don't accept persons or rewards. You understand? It said, but she doeth the things that are just. Go ahead.
And refraineth from all unjust and
go ahead.
And refraineth from all unjust and wicked things.
And the truth, it stays away from anything unjust and wicked, man. Anything that's unrighteous. Go ahead.
And all men do well like of her works.
And all men do well like of her works, man. If you follow the truth, you're going to do well in life. We live in examples in the ISUPK.
Right.
You understand? Read.
Verse 40. Neither in her judgment is any unrighteousness.
There you go. Go ahead.
And she is the strength, kingdom, power, and majesty of all ages.
That's right. The truth is the kingdom, the power, and the majesty of all ages, all generations, man. This Bible and this word from the God of Israel, it been enduring and holding our people together, man, for millenniums. You understand? Forever, all the way up until now.
Right.
All the way up until now. Read.
Blessed be the God of truth.
Barakatah Yahweh Yahweh Shai. Blessed be the power of truth. Go ahead.
Verse 41. And with that he held his peace.
And with that, he held his peace. He made his argument. He made his argument. He pleaded his case. You understand? Right. And now he's saying it's up to you, King.
Right.
Read.
And all the people then shouted and said, great is truth.
Damn right.
And mighty above all things.
Damn right. They said, great is the truth and mighty above all things. They knew that this brother was wise. He was the wisest, you understand. Great is the truth and mighty above all things. So back to your question that said the third wrote, women are the strongest, but above all things, truth beareth away the victory. Now you should understand why. You should understand why women are strongest, but the women got no chance when it comes to the truth, man.
Right.
And that's why it behooves every man to get into the truth and learn how to deal with beautiful women. You understand?
Right.
How to deal with your woman. You'll learn that in the ISUPK. You understand? You ain't got to be driven out of your wits. Have a counselor. Have a counselor, and we'll get her in order with you.
Right.
You understand? Because we, in the spirit of the Most High Christ, do not tolerate any nonsense. Once again, truth is stronger than all.
Right.
And if she ain't ready to get with the truth and be the way the truth wants her to be, beautiful or not or whatever, you understand, then she gonna have a very uncomfortable life in here.
Right.
You brothers ain't gonna have no uncomfortable life. You're gonna be doing the right thing. But boy, we're gonna make life hell for her if she ain't ready to get on board and do the right thing. You understand?
Right.
So everybody in the ISUPK, in this truth, this home of the truth, you understand, the ISUPK, we study this truth and follow this truth and obey this truth. You understand? Which makes everything right.
Right.
Because it's stronger than everything. When it comes to this truth, the king ain't nothing.
Right.
Without this truth, man. You understand? And listen, the truth teach you how to drink that wine the correct way.
Right.
The truth teaches you how to deal with that wine and not lose your mind and not embarrass your fool ass self. You understand? The truth teaches a king how to be a king.
Right.
How to be good to the men under him, man. You understand? And the truth teaches the men how to be good to the king.
Right.
The truth covers all bases, man. The truth teaches you how to be good to your woman, man, and not be a punk to her.
Right.
And it teaches your woman how to be a good wife, man.
Right.
And not be a monster to the husband. It teaches the kids how to be good children, man. Teaches the parents how to raise the kids up the right way.
Right.
The truth is stronger than all, man. That's what the brother meant. You understand? So that's the answer to that. I know it's a little entailed. It's one of my favorite stories in the Bible anyway. So, I enjoy going over it. But once again, young men, young sisters can read that. Young sister might read that and say, whoa, I'm strongest? Yeah. You understand? Don't fool yourself. Sister.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Brothers, some brothers might be scared to death. They read that. But it's a reason that he said it. You understand?
Right.
It was a wise thing that he said once you get to understand it. So let me see. Let me get that video real quick before I go into. I'm gonna go into the history of the world wars. But first, man, I want to show this video, man. It's utterly ridiculous. And black and brown people, once again, it should show us, man, that America has all power, man. And they can do basically what they want. They can create any laws that they want. So the fact that they treat us how they treat us and deal with these 12 tribes the way they have been dealing with it, they've been doing that because they want to.
Right.
They've been being terrorists to us because they want to. You understand? They put our babies and our brothers and sisters in cages, man, and made them sleep on the ground. Piled them up in cages, made them sleep on the ground, and put aluminum foil over them for blankets. You understand? And listen, we tried to come over there. Our brothers and sisters tried to cross that border, you know what I'm saying? And the rest of us was trying to help them and bringing them water. And the authorities was pouring out their water and taking the water from them. Pouring it out, man. Saying, we don't want them to have no water because then they're going to keep coming. So they would take the water from them, pour it out. They was just beating some of our Haitian brothers and sisters at the border, man. Why? Because they can't let nobody pass the border. They got to do background checks and they got to vet you first. You can't just come over here. They was sending them back, beating them, doing all type of horrible things. Separating the babies from the adults, trying to teach them a lesson.
Right.
Talking about maybe this will teach them not to keep coming. So they took the children from our brothers and sisters, man.
Right.
Didn't even know who they belonged to after a while. They ain't keep no records. You understand? Living in horrible conditions. Who knows what's happening to them children? Well, we know our oppressors, so we do know what goes on once their hands is in it. All type of molestation, disappearances. Can't even find half the kids no more because they've been sold on some black market.
Right.
You understand? All type of mess going on when it comes to the 12 tribes of Israel, when it comes to black and brown people. But let's see. This video is going to show you the power that America has. And by seeing this, you should understand that they treat us how they treat us because they hate us.
Right.
They do not give a damn about us. All they care about is other white people. That's it. That's what this video proves. And we've been telling you this since 1969.
Right.
And you just thought we was racist? You better wake up and see who the real racists are. Go ahead, play it.
Khan.
To us,
As millions flee Ukraine, countries around the world, including the United States, are preparing to possibly welcome Ukrainian refugees. Members of the Haitian community, though,
Hey,
wondering why
let me know if y'all
they
could
weren't
hear this.
shown
Let me
the
give me
same
some
type of
ones
grace
if
last
y'all can
summer
hear the video
after suffering
playing.
a natural disaster and the assassination of their president. Vinci correspondent Dre Clark has a closer look.
These were the images that shocked the world last September.
Give me some ones if you hear the video. Give me some zeros if you don't hear the video playing.
Cattle at the U.S.-Mexico border. Thousands of
All
Haitians
right,
seeking
good going.
asylum
This
in
is good.
America made a mad dash across the Rio Grande, with agents trying to stop them from getting into Texas. After the assassination of its president Jovenel Moïse last July and a devastating and deadly earthquake in August, Haitian migrants fled the country looking for safety, security, and stability. The Department of
They
Homeland
wondering
Security
why.
gave some Haitians
Why was
already in
we
the
not
US
shown the
temporary
grace
protected status.
and the love
But many of the
that these white
12,000
Ukrainians
Haitians
are
who
showing?
tried getting into the U.S. last year were turned down and flown back to Haiti. The international organization Human Rights Watch said what the Biden administration allowed to happen on its watch was abusive, discriminatory, and illegal.
The Biden administration deports people back to Haiti.
Gary Pierre, a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and founder of the Haitian Times, a publication covering all things Haiti, says Haitians have sought asylum in America for years and have been turned away time and time again.
Going on, Haitians are black, and they're not welcome. And I don't say this as sort of like anti-white. No, far from it. It's a fact.
Now, as the world watches millions of Ukrainians leave their war-torn homeland in a hurry, the international community is making it clear Ukrainians are welcomed. President Biden recently saying the U.S. will welcome Ukrainian refugees with
It's
open
your president.
I think the president would welcome.
This is black
Ukrainians,
people's
coming
president.
here.
I thought he was
Obviously,
a
they
man
currently
that would
apply
be
through
for
the
black
refugee
people.
process, but we're
Hell
continuing to
no.
discuss
He
what
loved the
options may
Ukrainians though.
Provide the same thing to the Haitians.
He uses
that you
power,
provide
and
to the
America
Ukrainians,
uses their
because
power to
both
make
of
sure the
them
Ukrainians are
living
well taken care of everywhere they go.
catastrophe.
But
Trucks
Pierre
pulling
knows
in
the
and out with
mindset
boxes of
towards
food and
Haitians won't
supplies
change
for the
overnight.
Ukrainians.
So he's asking black Americans and black lawmakers
Yet
to stay
our
with
brothers
Haiti
running
and
from
push for meaningful policies that will help
storms
usher more Haitians into
and
America
assassinations,
illegally.
and
No
they can't get no
handouts,
love.
no welfare,
Poor brothers
just
and
a fair
sisters, man.
chance at achieving the American dream. I'm Dre Clark for BNC.
Chase them down with horses and whips. Chase us down with horses and whips. Put us in cages, man. Put us in cages. Ukraine. The hell with America, the hell with Russia. None of them love us. But we don't need them to love us. That's the thing. And even them in Haiti making a mistake because they so damn Christian, making a mistake. We just ask that, they change and treat us and accept us like they accept the Ukrainians. No, they ain't gonna do that, man. They're not gonna do that. They got no love for us, and we still seeking their love. So let's stop begging these people, man.
Right.
Listen, let's turn back to our God. That's what we
Right.
need to do. Come to this truth, turn back to our God, and our God will see to it that they pay for everything they've done to us, man. They'll pay for everything that they've done to us. You understand? We done asking them for their help. They ain't helped us after all this time. And listen, they put it right in your face.
Right.
It was just months ago where they treated the Haitians like they treated a man at that border. Just months ago, I mean, not too long ago, the way when they treated the Mexicans like they treated them, man. But now these white people trying to come over here and running for their lives, oh, they changed laws. They moved mountains. They moved mountains and changed laws because they the almighty, powerful America. They can change a law overnight if they want. And that's what they're doing for these white people, these Ukrainians. You understand? This place is not for us. Scriptures say, depart, for this is not our rest, man.
Right.
Scriptures say it's high time to awake out of the sleep we've been in.
Right.
12 tribes of Israel, black and brown people, Negroes, Hispanics, Latinos, Native American Indians. It's time to wake up out of this sleep, man. and stop waiting for the day that white people change their hearts and love us. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. We've been fighting them since the book of Genesis, man. We've been at odds with each other since the book of Genesis, and it has never changed. And it will never change, man. Just thanks be to God that we got an army that's stronger than America.
Right.
We have an army in heaven that's stronger than America. And when they are let loose, man, we out of here. We out of here. And then those same white people that don't want you past their borders, that don't got no love for you, they ain't gonna have no love for you. They're gonna be begging you to love them then. When our king come back, when our army takes down our enemies, they're gonna be begging you to love them then.
Right.
And we'll show them no love. We'll show them no love. We won't be as harsh as they are. They're gonna get their due punishments for sure, and the Lord gonna give it to them. You understand? But then when the smoke clear and we put them on trial, those that survive the trials, those that are not found guilty of death, you understand, they're going to be made to serve.
Right.
They're going to be made to serve, and we're going to be better masters than they have been to us.
Right.
You understand? Better than they have been to us. So with that, let's forget about these people, man, and trying to make them love us. Let's not be surprised anymore when they put it in your face, boy. I mean, that's blatant. They put it in, at least they're supposed to hide it. They're supposed to change the law secretly and let them over secretly. And people just wondering, why all these Ukrainians coming over here? How they getting over here? And people just gossiping and talking about it. But they out in the open before the world. Change the laws. Loosen the border laws and let these Ukrainians over here. That's what Poland said. Poland said, yeah, we let the millions of Ukrainians come here and we treat them good and we take care of them and they're peaceful and it's nice, but not the one Muslim, not the one. And they said not one. And when they say Muslim, they just mean not white people. You know, I mean, they just mean only white people. You understand? He said not one, like, proud of it. You think they shame. You think they're ashamed because they don't love you. No, they're not ashamed. They're not ashamed because they don't love you. They proud of it. They say, no, not one. And yeah, they say it with pride. They're not letting one non-white person come across their borders in Poland, and America roll the same way.
Right.
Where do you think they get it from to be so bold? Poland and Germany and all them places. They see America is leading the way.
Right.
Showing the world, these black and brown people, we don't deal with too close, too tight. You understand? And so the world learns from America, man. And that's why you see all the drama going on between these countries, man.
Right.
Because our God is bringing this thing to a close, man. We in the last days. You understand? And I'm going to go into that. Let's go into a little bit of the history of these world wars. You understand?
Okay.
And I'm going to start a little bit with what's going on now. You understand? Give me the story about Putin calling the Ukraine. I mean, the collaboration. It says the collaboration.
Okay.
Let's start with that. You understand? See, once upon a time, Russia used to be called the Russian Empire, right? Give me 1 second. I had this time on the meter. No session. Bear with me 1 second. Russia used to be called the Russian Empire, right?
Right.
129. And give me 1 second. 1 second. Confirm. All right, we good. Right? It used to be the Russian Empire, and then they eventually became the USSR, if you ever heard of that, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. That's what Russia was called when it was kind of like the United States of America. They had all those other little countries, and they all belonged to the Soviet Union.
Right.
You understand? That was another name for the USSR, the Soviet Union, or the Union of Soviet Socialist Republicans, man. It was a communist state. It was a communist state, and they 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 started that name in about 1922 to about 1991, actually. Where was you in 1922, black people? You was being oppressed by America.
Right.
You understand? So throughout all of this, you was continuously and constantly being oppressed by America. While the other worlds were fighting and countries were fighting about business and different things, we were just over here slaves.
Right.
Then we were so-called freed, and we still were slaves.
Right.
You understand? Then they banned slavery and made it illegal to have slaves, and we still were slaves and being lynched and being murdered, man. Let's read about the collaboration.
Okay. This is from wikipedia.org.
Because one of Putin's biggest statements is that, Ukraine is ran by Nazis. You understand? We going over there to denazify Ukraine. That's just one reason why Putin is moving on Ukraine. Another reason is they don't want them to go get too democratic and become too American. And now American got allies this close to Russia. You understand? Right there on their land. Ukraine used to be part of Russia. They speak Russian.
Right.
That's the main language. There's, of course, no place just speaks one language.
Right.
But they speak Russian there. When Putin first invaded, the people in them restaurants over there were saying, they said, well, we're going to stay in our businesses. We're not going to leave, because this is our famous meal, our favorite meal we make here. Russians love it. Ukrainians love it. We brothers. They all love it. And so we got it because they the same damn people, man.
Right.
It's just that Russia's pissed off at Ukraine because they trading on them, man.
Right.
They trading on them and what they've always been trying to get some of this American dream, this facade that America puts on that everything is so wonderful when you join their democracy. You understand? So read.
Okay. Collaboration in German-occupied Ukraine.
Uh-huh.
Collaboration with Nazi Germany and German-occupied Ukraine.
Right.
Took place during the occupation of what is now Ukraine by Nazi Germany in World War II.
Right. So Ukraine, the Nazis went in and they were living in Ukraine. Can you way you could show them that picture?
Okay.
Show them both them pictures if possible. Check this picture out. Check this here out. You see that? This is Ukraine, man.
Right.
They got the Nazi symbol. Why? Because the Ukrainians accepted the Nazis once upon a time.
Right.
They accepted the Germans. How about that other one?
Okay.
First, go to the small part. I want to read the caption underneath,
Okay.
if you don't mind. The caption underneath that picture says, Parade in Stanislav in 1943. You understand? Stanislav is a part of the Ukraine. Now show that other picture.
Okay.
You see this picture. Guess what's happening? You see Ukrainians greeting the German Nazis, man.
Right.
Greeting the German Nazis. Let me read the caption under that.
Okay.
No sweat. It says Ukrainians greeting arriving Germans in Western Ukraine in the summer of 1941. You understand? So there was collaboration with Germans, Nazi Germany in the Ukraine, man. And Putin, that's what he was talking about. That's what he was talking about. Read on a little more in the story.
Okay.
Where you at?
I'm at the new.
Go ahead.
The new territorial divisions included District of Dalcia and Rakskolmysarach, Ukraine, which covered both the southeastern territories of the Second Polish Republic and the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic across the former borders.
So the Germans, they occupied Ukraine. You understand? Go to the next one, Russia. Russia's attack on Ukraine.
Okay.
You understand? So why? Why is Russia attacking Ukraine? You understand? Why is Putin keep talking about the Nazis? We just saw a Nazi flag in Ukraine, right? Captain Kahan sent us a picture a few weeks back of Ukrainians standing in front of a Nazi flag. Nazis are running Ukraine, man. And they say, well, how can that be when you got a Jewish president of Ukraine? Listen. Once upon a time, the Ukraine and Russia fought against the Nazis. You understand, fighting for Jewish people, and we're gonna read about that too. Russia is the main ones who beat Hitler, man.
Right.
It wasn't America. We don't learn that over here, but Russia was the main ones who beat the hell out of Hitler.
Right.
You understand? Read. Russia's attacking the Ukraine.
This is from Penn Today. Russia's attack on Ukraine through the lens of history. Historian Benjamin Nathan.
You skip that.
Come on.
You can skip that too. Go to the first question.
Question.
Go up for a second.
Come
I think it might be something good in there. Go ahead. You can start there for now.
Start here.
Yeah, in the speeches.
In speeches leading up to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin made a number of historical assertions about Ukraine. Everything from the country having no right to exist to claiming his troops must denazify Ukraine and prevent genocide.
Because again, Ukraine want to be their own sovereign country, their own sovereign place when they are part of Russia, man. You know, and Putin has been doing what Russia's always wanted to do. They wanted to bring their countries back together, man.
Right.
It was destroyed. Go ahead.
Why has Putin been hearkening back to World War II, in particular referencing the Holocaust and Nazism? At this point in time, what can history tell us about what is happening in Ukraine?
Then go to the question.
What do you make of the comparisons made between Putin's invasion of Ukraine and Hitler's 1939 invasion of Czechoslovakia in Poland?
Czechoslovakia and Poland. So this is a question posed to a Russian historian. He done wrote many books, studied Russians for years, Russian history. This question was asked to him. What does he make of the comparison between what Putin is doing in Ukraine and what Hitler did when he invaded Czechoslovakia and Poland back in the day? Go ahead.
It's true that Putin is using the argument that he's protecting the rights of ethnic Russians in Ukraine in a way that is similar to Hitler's claim that he was protecting the rights of ethnic Germans in Eastern Europe, whether that was in the territory known as the Sudetenland in Czechoslovakia or in Poland.
Right. So they comparing, they saying Putin says he trying to cleanse Ukraine, man, and get the real Ukrainians up in there. Instead of all these traitors and all these mixed people coming from other places, like a lot of Jewish people, like a lot of foreigners who claiming now to be Ukrainian, he trying to make Ukraine the old Ukraine again.
Right.
Part of Russia, much like what Hitler was trying to do when he wanted a pure Germany, a pure white Germany, white race, you understand? And history tells us that Hitler was upset with white Jewish people because they was claiming the identity of being Jewish when the world knew at that time that Jewish people were black once upon a time. Jews were black.
Right.
You understand? Jews were brown skinned. You understand? So it was an offense that these people now from the Khazar Empire are now saying that they're Jews, that they're black people in essence. And Jewish people, they have a lineage. They come from what? The Khazar Empire. They come from Germany. They from Poland. They are, yes, but Jewish people, a lot of them have German roots. Yes. They come from Russia, Czechoslovakia, Slovenia, Slavics and all that. They come from all Poland. You understand? They come from all of them places over there. You understand? Jewish people. They come from all type of ethnicities from over there, and then claim Judaism to be their religion. You understand? That's what they've done, and that's who they are. Read.
There's also a parallel in the sense that Hitler came to power in a Germany that had been humiliated by its defeat in the First World War.
So in World War I, Germany took a loss, man. Germany took a loss, and Germany had been pissed off ever since that loss. Man, go ahead.
And they lost of a lot of territory in the peace settlement that ended the war.
Right, and in surrendering, and the part of the peace contract, the bullies, of course, America and its people, made them sign contract to give up a lot of land and to break up their land. And of course, they naturally want the land back, man, but ain't nothing they could do. So eventually, they go back to war, trying to expand their land. Go ahead.
The Soviet Union didn't lose a hot war, but it lost the Cold War.
And again, the Soviet Union was in a Cold War with America. A Cold War is a war where armies, it ain't a bunch of army and bloodshed, you understand? But it's stances. I'm taking this stance, sanctions, and a whole bunch of different things until one gives up.
Right.
You understand? And the the Soviet Union gave up, and then the treaties and the peace settlements and the agreements broke up a lot of their land and separated them, and separated a lot of those lands to be individuals.
Right.
You understand? Everybody know the saying, you're stronger together.
Right.
And the best way to defeat a bunch of people that's strong together is to try to separate and divide them. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. That's what our oppressors have done to the 12 tribes. They divided us to keep us conquered, man.
Right.
Now we don't even know we family in 2022, most of us. You understand? So they did the same thing in Germany, pissed Hitler off, and they did the same thing with the Soviet Union, which pissed Russia off. And Putin been trying to bring all those lands back together again. Go ahead.
And it lost significant territory that had been part of the Soviet Union and before that Russian Empire.
Right. Go ahead.
There's a similar sense of grievance, a national humiliation, and being unable to change the results of the Cold War.
Right. That's humiliation, man. When you see your land, you know, the lands that used to be part of your people and part of your culture, now you got foreigners like America and other lands befriending them right there on your border.
Right.
It's like you trying to humiliate Russia by trying to turn Ukraine into a democracy and to be like America, man. You trying to disrespect Putin, man, and he ain't having it. He can't have it. You understand? They said now Putin, they want Putin, they want to at least have the Kremlin and Russia agree, listen, we ain't going to be using nuclear weapons, all right? During this fight, no matter how bad it get. And Russia said, well, we can't make that agreement. Because if some foreign people come try to take our land and come up in here, listen, you know, all's fair in love and war.
Right.
They said they ain't taking nuclear warfare off the table, man. Them nukes is ready to go if you come over here trying to step on us. Read.
Okay. I think Putin is motivated by that and is drawing on that, although it's still unclear how much of the Russian population share those feelings.
Go ahead. Next question.
Okay. Why is Putin talking so much about the past?
So they wondering why Putin bringing up the past so much. Why is he bringing back the Holocaust and what happened in Nazi Germany and all that there? Why is he bringing those things up? Go ahead. Why is he bringing up America's occupation and dismantling of the Soviet Union? Read.
Vladimir Putin Putin himself is quite obsessed with history. So part of our attention to this should be looking on how Putin is using history. What is he drawing on in terms of his own motives? But just as important is the way he's telling the story to the Russian population.
Right. So they trying to figure out why Putin talking about the past and talking about the things he's saying to his people, his kinsmen, the other Russians. Go ahead.
This is where things get very interesting and very disturbing. There is no grander moment in Russia's modern history than 1945.
Check this out. What happened in 1945 having to do with Russia? Go ahead.
That is the absolute high point of Russia's pride and achievement and sense of mission and purpose and greatness.
You know you know how the Most High is famous for bringing us out of Egypt? That's what he's famous for. That's the high point, of what he did for Israel and made the earth see that he's the God not to be messed with. Well, Russia's high point happened in 1945. That's what they brag about in Russia. That's what they stand strong on. Of course, us over here in this Disney world, Babylon, called America, we don't hear about those things. We don't hear about what's going on in other countries. You understand? But in Russia, this is what they brag about, and this is what they stand on. It says their high point of pride, man, and achievement, and sense of mission and purpose and greatness. Go ahead.
Because Russia alone among European powers not only withstood the Nazi onslaught, the largest and most lethal military attack ever waged in history.
Right. The largest and most lethal military attack ever in history was Hitler and them Germans, man. The Nazi onslaught. Go ahead.
Operation Barbarossa.
Barbarossa. Yeah.
Barbarossa, launched in June of 1941 by Hitler and withstood that attack at the price that Americans could barely imagine.
And Russia withstood that attack, man. They stood up in it fighting Hitler, man. And in 1941, they stood through it and lived through such a bombardment that Hitler put on them, man. It said America could barely imagine what Russia had to live through and fight against. Go ahead.
Right. It also turned the tide and crushed Nazi Germany.
And Russia ended up crushing Nazi Germany. They end up winning. Go ahead.
The Soviet Union deserves more credit than any other single country, including the United States.
You hear that? You hear that? You think about the Holocaust and Hitler, and you think about the conquering of Hitler, we automatically in America, we think Americans did it, right? But no, Russia is the one that deserves the credit for knocking Nazi Germany down and beating Hitler, man.
Right.
It said they deserve more credit than any other single country, including the United States, for the defeat of the Nazis. Go ahead.
For the defeat of what by many people's reckoning is the closest we'll ever get to absolute evil.
Right, because Hitler was trying to annihilate everything that wasn't white and blue eyes. They were the master race, and he was getting rid of everything that wasn't pure. You understand? They had laws in Germany where your children was put to death if they was born with defects.
Right.
Why waste the food on you, man? Why waste the shelter? They wanted a perfect master race, man. Read.
This victory over Nazism has penetrated the psyche of Russians like nothing else.
And that victory, man, that's in every Russian's mind, man. They remember that they the ones who defeated Hitler. Go ahead.
There's so much in Russia's 20th century history that it's catastrophic and shameful, and produced horrifying results for Russians themselves, like the Bolshevik Revolution and Stalinism.
These were leaders of Russia who done horrible things in history. Go ahead.
The defeat of Nazi Germany is sacred ground for Russia.
But the defeat of knocking Hitler down and defeating Nazi Germany, that is sacred to the Russians, man. That's sacred to them. Go ahead.
Putin, long before troubles with Ukraine started, has been making the defeat of Nazi Germany the cornerstone of Russian identity.
Like in Russia, that's what they known for. They known for beating Nazi Germany. Go ahead.
I should also point out that Putin's older brother died as a toddler during the Nazi siege of Leningrad.
And on top of that, Putin lost a brother dealing with them goddamn Nazis, man. Go down to the next question.
Couple cards. Scrolling down. How did you take Putin's recent speeches as a historian?
So that's what they asked this historian. Go ahead.
He is very eager to create an image of Russia's history that Russians can be proud of. And there's nothing unusual about that. American politicians like to do the same thing.
Right. America does the same thing. You understand? They said Russians want to be proud. And they proud of what they did, man, when they talk about their history and how they defeated Hitler, man. They proud of it. But America does the same goddamn thing. So you can't say Russia's arrogant. America's
Right.
just as arrogant. You understand? Go ahead.
But Putin's engagement with Russia's history, whether during the Soviet period or before the revolution of 1917, is unusually intense.
Yeah, it's intense because listen, he proud of that. Putin proud of that history. Go ahead.
Putin is convinced that the Soviet Union not only defeated Nazism, but saved the world from Nazism.
Listen, not only does Putin believe that that Russia, the Soviet Union, defeated Nazi Germany, but he believed he saved the world. He saved the world because the Nazis had plans on dominating the world. You understand? And Putin, Russia believes that they saved the world, not America. They believe if it wasn't for them, there would be no America.
Right.
America would be Germany if it wasn't for Russia. That's what Russians believe because they defeated Nazi Germany, man. They defeated Hitler. Go ahead.
And he convinced that the greatest number of Soviet sympathizers to the Nazis were in Ukraine.
And he's absolutely convinced that the greatest number of Soviet sympathizers or traitors to the Nazis were in Ukraine. That begins the problem. That these sympathizers to Nazi Germany are in Ukraine. And we just showed you where Ukraine was accepting all them Germans, right? And Nazi Germans. Go ahead.
They were anti-Russian Ukrainian nationalists.
You see that? Anti-Russian Ukrainian nationalists. Go ahead.
Who collaborated with the Nazi army.
Who traded and joined and were down with and spying for the Nazi army. Go ahead.
He is convinced that he could protect Ukraine and Russia from what he imagines to be a resurgence of Nazism in Ukraine.
Right. So he believes that Nazis are trying to raise up in Ukraine. And it ain't far-fetched. Guess what? Nazism is raising up in America, man. Y'all remember not too long ago, Donald Trump had awakened the Nazi beast when he was president, man. And now he's not president. They still running around here, man. What you think them skinheads and KKK? Listen, they say it's been more recruitment since Donald Trump into the KKK and the white supremacist groups than ever before, man.
Right.
Spouting their Nazism. You understand, with Nazi rules and laws in America, man. That whole voting thing, the way the Republicans trying to come at black people, it's illegal now to give voters water. You understand? That's a form of Nazism, man. Pulling you over and checking your IDs like they do black and brown people. That's a form of Nazism. They used to do that. You used to have your papers on deck in Nazi Germany, man, so they could know who you are. You understand? America does a lot of things like Nazi Germany, man.
Right.
You understand? Go to I'm gonna come off that one. Go to the Allies of World War One. Matter of fact, first go to not the Allies yet. Go to World War One. That first story.
Okay.
I sent it second. I sent it after the Allies, but I want to get that one first.
Okay. World War One. Wikipedia, right?
Yes, that should be it. No, the dog slide.
Oh, come. The Allies, come.
Yeah.
Come. Pulling up now. Share screen.
Now, offside by working this computer, boy. He the master on this thing. I appreciate him and Officer Yedaya, doing their thing up in here.
Allies of World War One, sir?
Yes, let's read that for me.
Okay. This is Allies of World War One.
And again, I'm just reading the Allies, who was fighting in World War One. We're gonna go back a little bit to World War One. Who was the two gangs? Who were the two gangs fighting each other in World War One? Like white people act like we made up gangs in the hood.
Right.
You understand? We ain't make up gangs and fighting each other. over colors. They was fighting each other over flags, man. Certain colors on their flags, and you know they gangs. You know, you hurt one of their crew, and they get together and defend their crew. That's what the Allies is about. That's what America talking about right now. If Russia hurts one of them NATO countries, that's their partners, man. Now they got to answer that. They got to answer that, man. It's no different from your neighborhood gangs. It's just we small and poor
Right.
in the hood. But we can't love our brothers like America show love to their allies and to their partners. Read.
Okay. This is the Allies of World War One. The Allies of World War One, or Entente powers, were a coalition of countries led by France,
Go ahead.
Britain,
Go ahead.
Russia,
Go ahead.
Italy.
Now, this is the one side. They were called the Allies. France, Britain, Russia, Italy. Go ahead.
Japan.
Even Japan was down with Russia and France and Britain and part of the Allies. Go ahead.
And the United States.
And the United States. Go ahead.
Against the Central Powers of Germany.
And the other side of the gang were called the Central Powers. That was Germany. Go ahead.
Austria-Hungary.
Go ahead.
The Ottoman Empire.
The Ottoman Empire. Go ahead.
Bulgaria.
And
their colonies during the First World War.
And their colonies during the First World War. Now you can go to that other one that said World War One.
Okay.
And that was 1914. 1914 and 1918, with the First World War, with these two opposing sides, the Allies fighting against the Central Powers. Where were we in 1914 and 1918? We were trying to survive. They let some of us come off the cotton field, and then we ain't had no choice because they was killing us and murdering us. We had to stick together. So we said, to hell, we're gonna build our own communities, man. And we start building Tulsa, Oklahoma, man, and start prospering because we separated and were segregated from white people. But what happened in 1919, 1921, right after World War I? They bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma. Why? Because they didn't like the fact that black people was prospering. While they were in a world war fighting each other with their gangs, we was like, that ain't our business.
Right.
And we had businesses in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We had bus companies in Carolina. We had all type of good things, man. Madam C.J. Walker was around. She was the first black woman to own an airport, to own an airplane.
Right.
Back in those late teens in the 1900s, man. While the countries were at war, we was getting our businesses on, man, doing our thing. Go ahead.
World War One. Also known as the First World War.
Right.
And contemporaneously known as the Great War. Was an international conflict that began on the 28th of July of 1914.
Right.
And ended on the 11th of November of 1918.
Go ahead.
It involved much of Europe, as well as Russia, the United States, and Turkey, and was also fought in the Middle East, Africa, and parts of Asia.
Right.
One of the deadliest conflicts in history. An estimated 9 million were killed in combat, while over 5 million civilians died from occupation, bombardment, hunger, or disease.
Yeah, that 5 million died from occupation. What did it say before that? 9 million were killed in combat. Go ahead.
The genocide.
Once again, it wasn't our business. Where the hell was we? We was being hated in America by white people. Go ahead.
The genocides perpetrated by the Ottomans in the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, spread by the movement of combatants during the war, caused many millions of additional deaths worldwide.
Right. So it was a lot of death around that time of the World War I. Go ahead.
In 1914, the great powers were divided into two opposing alliances. The Triple Entente, consisting of France, Russia, and Britain.
Right.
And
just read. Go ahead.
And the Triple Alliance, made up of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy.
Right. Go ahead.
Tensions in the Balkans came to a head on the 28th of June of 1914.
Right.
Following the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
So the Archduke, he was the Archduke about to get the throne in Austria, Hungary. He was about to get the throne, but the Serbians sent a hit squad out to murder this cat. You understand? And when you read it, I don't know, it might say it in this, but they did this because they felt as though Austria-Hungary was oppressing them and they wanted to be free from them. So this cat was about to take over and they knew it was going to be bad. So they sent the hit squad to murder this cat. Go ahead.
The Austro-Hungarian Heir by Gavrilo Princip, a
Gavrilo Princip. He's the one who they say actually pulled the hit off. Go ahead.
A Bosnian Serb.
Bosnian Serb. Go ahead.
Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia in the interlocking alliances involved the powers in a series of diplomatic exchanges known as the July Crisis.
Right. So Hungary said that you Serbs, you did that, and all of your allies, y'all killed, our Archduke. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to pay for that. Read.
On the 28th of July, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. Russia came to Serbia's defense.
So now, Austria-Hungary, they declared war on Serbia, went to fight them. Now, the Serbs are friends with Russia. That's their boy. They stay homie. So now Russia got to answer that. You can't just roll up on my homies like that. Russia got to bring his people now. They squad up. Read.
And by the 4th of August, the conflict had expanded to include Germany, France, and Britain.
So Germany, France, Britain, all of them got involved. They picked their sides, got down with their friends, also AKA allies. Go ahead.
Along with their respective colonial empires. In November, the Ottoman Empire, Germany, and Austria formed the Central Powers, while in April 1915, Italy joined Britain, France, Russia, and Serbia as the Allied powers.
Right. So they were the allies. Go ahead.
Khan. Facing a war on two fronts, German strategy in 1914 was to defeat France, then shift its forces to the east and knock out Russia. Commonly known,
Germany, they wanted to get rid of France first. Say, let's hit France, let's destroy France, and then we're gonna move on Russia. Go ahead.
Commonly known as the Schlieffen Plan. This failed when their advance in France was halted at the Marne. By the end of 1914, the two sides faced each other along the Western Front. A continuous series of trench lines stretching from the Channel to Switzerland that changed little until 1917. By contrast, the Eastern Front was far more fluid, with Austria-Hungary and Russia gaining than losing large swaths of territory. Other significant theaters included the Middle East and Alpine Front and the Balkans, bringing Bulgaria, Romania, and Greece into the war.
Put that towards the end.
Okay. Towards the end of 1918, the Central Powers began to collapse. Bulgaria signed an armistice on the 25th of September, followed by the Ottomans on the 35th of October. Then Austria-Hungary on the 3rd of November.
So they start surrendering. They start giving up. The Central Powers start giving up to the Allies and signing peace treaties. Go ahead.
Isolated, facing revolution at home, and an army on the verge of mutiny, Kaiser Wilhelm abdicated on the 9th of November, and the new German government signed an armistice on the 11th of November of 1918.
So even Germany had to conform in World War II. They lost. They lost the war. Go ahead.
Bringing the fighting to a close.
Okay, so that's in that. So that was the end of World War One. It was over. It started over the murder and assassin of the Archduke, and then the people of the Archduke, Hungary, Austria-Hungary, declared war on the Serbians. Serbians were friends with the Russians, brought the Russians in, and of course, then the friends of the Austria-Hungary jumped in, Germany, and then it was a whole mess. Then France, then all the sides tooled up and went to war. You understand? And Germany's side ended up losing that war. So now, after war, they lose. They sign a bunch of paperwork and got to make deals that they don't want to make, but they defeated.
Right.
And they lose a lot of land. And so now they butt hurt now. You understand? They mad and angry over the years. Go to the World War II facts.
World War II.
Man, go. Let me see what you got. This says two of them. Which one do I want first?
We got World War II causes and timeline, and World War II facts summary.
Yeah, go to the causes and timeline first. Yeah, I just want to read that right there.
That's it. This is from history.com. World War II. World War II was the biggest and deadliest war in history, involving more than 30 countries. Sparked by the 1939 Nazi invasion of Poland, the war dragged on for 6 bloody years.
So this started by the Germans invading Poland. Go ahead, and it dragged on for 6 years, man. There's a lot of blood spilled. Go ahead.
Until the Allies defeated Nazi Germany in Japan in 1945.
So now go to the other one. The facts.
Okay.
And they fought for 6 years, man. For 6 years until the Allies defeated Nazi Germany. You understand? But once again, like we read earlier, Russia played the biggest part in defeating Nazi Germany. They the ones took the brunt of Germany's attack, and they fought and fend them off and actually beat Nazi Germany, actually beat Hitler, man.
Right.
You understand? They deserve all the credit, like the historian said. Even greater credit than America, who America would have you think they the one stopped Hitler. Read what you got.
This is from Britannica.com. World War II, 1939 to 1945. World War II, also known as the Second World War, conflict that involved virtually every part of the world during the years 1939 and 1945.
This is 1939 to 1945. This is when World War II went down. You understand? Where was we at? Being oppressed by white people in America. Being oppressed by white people in America. Some of our simple behinds wanted to join the war. They convinced us and lied to us because they needed bodies. They convinced us to join their stupid war and fight for them like it would earn their respect. It would earn, the respect for us. It would make them respect us. Well, we found out different. We found out different. You understand? It was not our business. We should have ignored it like the First World War. Read.
The principal belligerents were the Axis powers.
The Axis powers, they were now called. Those Central powers that lost World War I, now they were called the Axis powers. Go ahead.
Germany,
go ahead.
Italy,
and
Japan.
They were buddies now. They were friends doing business and getting money together. Go ahead.
And the Allies.
And the Allied forces. Go ahead.
France,
Great Britain, the United States,
the Soviet Union,
and the Soviet Union. They actually fought on the same side. Go ahead.
And to a lesser extent, China.
And China wasn't as strong back then. So to a lesser extent, China was part of the Allies. Go ahead.
The war was in many respects a continuation. After an uneasy 20-year hiatus.
So after 20 years, they were still hurting from that First World War, especially Germany. They were still pissed off after losing that First World War, man. You understand? It was a damn near continuation is what it's saying. World War II was just a continuation of World War I. It was just the Germany getting their strength together and moving again to do what they do. Go ahead.
Of the disputes.
And again, all this is white people's business.
Right.
We ain't got no horse in this race. We don't
Right.
give a damn who win. You understand? Because whoever win, we gonna be their spoils any damn way.
Right.
You understand? Go ahead.
of the disputes left unsettled by War One.
You see that? You see that? It's just a continuation of the anger and the problems that the losers didn't, that Germany and them and its people didn't like after World War One. Go ahead.
The 40 million to 500 million deaths incurred in World War II made it the bloodiest conflict as well as the largest war in history.
40 million to 50 million died in World War II. Go ahead.
Along with World War I, World War II was one of the great watersheds of 20th century geopolitical history. It resulted in the extension of the Soviet Union's power
Right.
to nations of Eastern Europe. Enabled a
Did what? Say it again. Say it
It resulted in the extension of the Soviet Union's power
again.
to nations of Eastern Europe.
So the Soviet Union got big, man. Their power extended. They had a far reach. The Soviet Union was powerful. Called themselves the USSR, the United Soviet Socialist Republic. Go ahead.
Enabled a communist movement to eventually achieve power in China. And marked the decisive shift of power in the world away from the states of Western Europe and toward the United States and the Soviet Union.
Read that last line again.
Kawakan.
In China, and go ahead.
And marked the decisive shift of power in the world away from the states of Western Europe and toward the United States and the Soviet Union.
Go ahead. So all the power that Western Europe had, it was going to the United States and to the USSR. They were both strong. Go ahead.
Axis initiative and Allied reaction. The outbreak of the war. By the early part of 1939, the German dictator Adolf Hitler had become determined to invade and occupy Poland.
So he wanted Poland. He wanted to expand. That's what white people do. They expand their lands and conquer other lands. That's what they've been doing from the beginning. You know, how you think America got over here? America were England. They were from England. You understand? And decided to come over here and invade and steal this land and conquer. You understand? That's what Germany wanted to do to Poland. Go ahead.
Poland.
And that's why America got no moral authority to tell anybody they can't invade. They say it now because America done invaded all they want, and they got what they like, and now, excuse me, and now they don't invade like they used to. They just get other countries to get on the program with them and to become democracies. You understand? And trade with them and give them money and eventually turn that country into using their dollar and being real dependent on them and having a stronghold. And of course, they set up military bases in all those places that they're friends with. They set up military bases and put warships on their ports and all that there so they could be strong even over there. And now what are the other countries just next to them saying, well, damn, America, they got militaries way over here, right on our border, man. We can't get no peace from them. And of course, some of them going to resist if they have the strength. You understand? America's a bully, man.
Right.
Trying to disrespect Putin and disrespect China. You understand, Reed?
Poland, for its part, had guarantees of French and British military support should it be attacked by Germany.
So now the French and the British supported Poland, man. And they said, listen, if Germany roll on y'all, we got your back. They was friends. They was friends. They was from the same gang. You understand, Reed?
Hitler intended to invade Poland anyway.
So Hitler said, I ain't scared of that. I'm going to take Poland, man. I'm going to invade Poland anyway. Go ahead.
But first, he had to neutralize the possibility that the Soviet Union would resist the invasion of its Western neighbor. Secret negotiations led on August 23rd to the 24th to the signing of the German-Soviet non-aggression pact in Moscow. In a secret protocol of this part, the Germans and the Soviets agreed that Poland should be divided between them, with the western third of the country going to Germany and the eastern two-thirds being taken over by the USSR.
So they made a deal. Germany and Russia made a deal to split up Poland. Go ahead. Again, that's what white people do. They like to pillage, take over, lands. Go ahead.
Having achieved this cynical agreement, the other provisions of which stupefied Europe even without divulgence of the secret protocol. Hitler thought that Germany could attack Poland with no danger of Soviet or British intervention, and gave orders for the invasion to start on August 26th.
So even though they made the deal to divide the place up, you know what I'm saying? Hitler moved on Poland like with full authority. Go ahead. Thinking that, the British and the Soviet wouldn't do anything. Go ahead.
News of the signing on August 25th of a formal treaty of mutual assistance between Great Britain and Poland to supersede a previous, though temporary, agreement caused him to postpone the start of hostilities for a few days. It was still determined, however, to ignore the diplomatic efforts. What's going down? It's like efforts of the Western powers to restrain him. Finally,
See that again? It was what?
he was still determined, however, to ignore the diplomatic efforts of the Western powers to restrain him.
Right. They were trying to stop him. The West was trying to stop him, but he ignored that. Go ahead.
Okay. Finally, at 12:40 p.m. on August 31st of 1939,
August 31st, 1939, where were we? Oppressed in America. Go ahead.
right, Hitler ordered hostilities against Poland to start at 4:45 the next morning.
Mhm.
The invasion began as ordered. In response, Great Britain and France declared war on Germany on September 3rd at 11 a.m. and at 5 p.m. respectively.
So
The
Hitler hit Poland, man. And once they hit Poland, France and Britain and Great Britain had to respond. Oh, they hitting our homie, let's go help. So they joined in. Go ahead. Go down.
forces
You just read in September.
in September of 1939, the Allies, namely Great Britain, France, and Poland, were together superior in industrial resources,
Uh-huh.
population, and military manpower.
So they were stronger, had more money, more fuel, more military, more guns, more tanks, more manpower. Go ahead.
But the German army, or Wehrmacht,
Those German words. Wach. Go ahead.
because of its armament, training, doctrine, discipline, and fighting spirit, was the most efficient and effective fighting force for its size in the world.
So they say Germany was so disciplined in their military that they were beating. They were better than the Great Britain and France and Poland. Even though they had more manpower and a bigger military. Go ahead.
The index of military strength in September 1939 was the number of divisions that each nation could mobilize. Against Germany's 100 infantry divisions and 6 armored divisions, France had 90 infantry divisions in metropolitan France. Great Britain had 10 infantry divisions, and Poland had 30 infantry divisions, 12 cavalry bridges and brigades, and 1 armored brigade. Poland had also 30 reserve infantry divisions, but these could not be mobilized quickly. A division contained from 12,000 to around 25,000 men.
Read on. So they had power. They had power. They had armies. Great Britain, France, and Poland. Go ahead.
It was the quantitative superiority of the German infantry divisions and the number of their armored divisions that made the difference in 1939.
Uh-huh.
The firepower of a German infantry division far exceeded that of a French, British, or Poland division.
So Germany had the firepower, man. Go ahead.
The standard German division included 442 machine guns, 135 mortars, 72 anti-tank guns, and 24 howitzers.
Skip down. You skip down. Where you at?
Allied divisions.
Okay. No sweat. Go to Allied division.
Allied divisions had a firepower only slightly greater than that of World War I.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
Germany had 6 armored divisions in September of 1939. The Allies, though they had a large number of tanks, had no armored divisions at that time.
Right. So Germany was superior in their armor and their military. Although they were outnumbered, they had better equipment and a better, stronger fighting spirit. Go ahead.
Right. The 6 armored or Panzer divisions of the Wehrmacht comprised some 2,400 tanks. And though Germany would subsequently expand its tank forces during the first years of the war, it was not the number of tanks that Germany had. The Allies had almost as many in September of 1939, but the fact of their being organized into divisions and operated as such that was to prove decisive. In accordance with the doctrines of General Heinz Gerdien.
So Germany had a bunch of tactics and fighting plans that were superior to their enemies.
Right.
Go down to where we're at. These tactics.
Okay. These tactics were supported by dive bombers.
Dive bombers. Go ahead.
That attacked and disrupted the enemy's supply and communications line.
Right. It blew up. They blew up all they bases and where they kept their communications and all that there. Go ahead.
And spread panic and confusion in its rear. Thus further paralyzing its defensive capabilities.
Right.
Mechanization was the key to German blitzkrieg or lightning war.
The German blitzkrieg, the lightning war. Go ahead.
So named because of the unprecedented speed and mobility that were its salient characteristics.
Go ahead.
Tested and well trained in maneuvers, the German Panzer divisions constituted a force with no equal in Europe.
Look at that. Tested and well trained. So them Germans wasn't no joke, man. And they was putting it on the Allied powers, man. They were putting it on France. And who else was it? I forget. France. It was 3 of them. Poland, and Great Britain. Come on, go ahead.
The German Air Force, or Luftwaffe, was also the best force of its kind in 1939. It was a ground cooperation force designed to support the army, but its planes were superior to nearly all Allied types. In the Wehrmacht period from 1935 to 1939, the production of German combat aircraft steadily mounted. The table shows the production of German aircrafts by years.
So scroll down. See if any more.
Come.
So the Germans getting their planes together.
That's that.
Standardization of the engines, you know what I'm saying? And again, them Germans, man, they were good at making machines, man. America used them till this day. You understand? The German evolution and all the German machines and things, man. They made some good, strong things, and they showed it in this war. Oh, man, I'm past the time. Jump to Pearl Harbor real quick.
Come.
I'm going to read 2 more little pieces, y'all. What brought America into World War II? So Germany over there kicking behind, man. Over there kicking behind. And got his eye, and again, got his eyes on Russia. Russia going to have to step in. Go ahead.
This is from history.com. Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor is a U.S. naval base near Honolulu, Hawaii.
Right.
That was the scene of a devastating surprise attack by Japanese forces on December 7, 1941.
Right.
Just before 8 a.m. on that Sunday morning. Hundreds of Japanese fighter planes descended on the base, where they managed to destroy or damage nearly 20 American naval vessels, including 8 battleships and over 300 airplanes.
So because of the time's sake, I'm going to try to sum it up. What happened was, during the time Germany fighting and conquering and fighting all over Europe, right? Japan was strong. China was a little punk compared to Japan back then. And Japan wanted to expand. They wanted to get some of China and make China a part of them. You know what I'm saying? But America was stopping them. America was putting sanctions on Japan and cutting off, and then they figured if we put sanctions on them and stop them from getting equipment to fight and fuel and different things like that. Same thing they trying to do to Putin today. They did that with Japan, and Japan got pissed off, man. They got pissed off, and America had bases and ships and soldiers not too far from Japan. So they were ready to fight Japan if Japan came. But if Japan did something they did not expect. Japan knew that they also had bases way further out in Hawaii, which was where Pearl Harbor was located. They had warships over there. They had bases. They had jets and planes, fighter jets. The only problem was it was way further than America thought that Japan would go. So they had no big defense way over there in Hawaii. You understand, in Pearl Harbor. And Japan sent jets and fighters down there and bombed them and shot them, sunk two of their goddamn warships and blew up a whole bunch of other of their warships and destroyed all their planes over there. You understand? And they killed a lot of people in Pearl Harbor, man. And America was not expecting it. You understand, when they did it. But the problem was they didn't destroy. They said America still had a lot of fuel distilleries and things still in Hawaii. They didn't destroy those things. So they wasn't all the way crippled, but they was hurt. And so all the and most of the soldiers in the real fighting ships, they weren't even there. They were based ready to fight Japan here, but Japan went to Pearl Harbor. So once America gathered together, they entered into World War II. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole history. They entered into World War II. Again, y'all done read the stories where they eventually dropped a nuclear bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, man. 6 days apart, I think about 6 days apart, 3 days apart, something like that. Bombed the hell out of them. 3 days later, bombed them some more because Japan still ain't want to listen. You understand? And once they bombed them, you know what I'm saying, everybody was afraid after that. Everybody was afraid and wanted to make things right. You understand? And once again, Hitler is the one who fought Germany and ended up defeating Germany and stopping them from taking over the world. That was not America. You understand? America, after they bombed Hiroshima, there's a whole history, and maybe we do a part 2 to next week and get into it. But it's, you know, some intrigue in history which shows you how, because of what our oppressors have been doing to us for centuries and decades, and all of them that had a hand in it, man. Over the thousands of years ago, oppressing Israelites. Even when we knew we were Israelites oppressing us, the Lord had been moving pieces and moving pawns and turning them against each other. And Revelation goes into the whole thing. World War I, World War II, and it talks about World War III, man. Prophesied thousands of years ago before any of it took place. And now it's all unfolding, man. Been unfolding here, these world wars, man. Scriptures say one woe is past and the second cometh shortly. Then it said 2 woes have passed and the third cometh quickly, man. Right. And it's the time we living in where that third cometh quickly. We in World War III right now, believe it or not. You understand? We just in a phase of it. It ain't got to the thickness yet. You understand? But the Lord bringing it. He bringing it and he moving his pieces, man. So we better prepare and we better tool up. And when I say tool up, I mean, come into the truth, man, and learn and get your spirit right and get your mind right and get ready to rule when the smoke clear. And you sisters, you come support these soldiers, man. They're your next government. They're your next government. You understand? So it's a whole history on why where we are, where we at now as far as Putin and America. You understand? And these other countries fighting each other. It all came from that First World War. Ain't none of them been happy since the First World War, because after they lose, the winner makes them sign all type of contracts to give up their land and break their countries up and do this and do that, and they never live it down. You understand? They never live it down. And again, it ain't resolved, so it always comes back on them. You understand? Like Shaka Zulu said, never leave your enemy behind, or he will rise again and fly at your throat. And that's where all these world wars come from. And the Most High been moving it all along. He been moving the pieces and stirring it up. With that, I'm going to say shalom. Went a little bit over the water for hanging in there, brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? Go check out your history, man. American history, and see how evil and corrupt America's always been. See how much of a bully they've always been with everybody, man, just stealing pieces and corrupting everybody, and put it in your mind and know that they will never love you, black and brown people, like they love white people, man.
Right.
And that's proof here in 2022 with Ukraine, with Haiti, and with the Mexicans, man. They showing you who they love. You understand? And so we thank God that they're about to go into a war and burn each other to death with nuclear weapons. Barakatah Yahweh Wa Yahweh Shai. We gonna get drunk to it. How about that? Right. Most High Christ. I see y'all next week. Shalom.
Trap exempt.
Dear Lord, I hope you hear my prayers. Because we
Make a
really,
reference to the
really
parking
need
lot.
you
Yeah,
down
back up.
here. From all the pain
Come
that
back
we
out on the
going
street.
through. We know that you real, so can you fall through? Father, have mercy when we call on you. But I just want to fall
Sorry,
on
say
you.
you.
So
About 5 minutes.
waiting and to play with. I raised my children up to say the same shit. Dear Lord, I hope you hear my prayers. Because we really, really need you down here. From all the pain that we going through. We know that you're real, so can you fall through? Father, have mercy when we call on you. But I just want to fall on you. To show the devils you ain't nothing to play with. I raised my children up to say the same shit.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Come on, West.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Rockin' this shit.
Go ahead. Look, I keep it low to the T. UBK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet. Got soldiers on deck, and my youngin' did a sweep. This a whole nother way. Tell him get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Nigga, come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Man, this shit is too easy. I'm on gold, but they don't believe it. You know I'm winning with the team. Screaming Vinny, 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 VJ. Hear them devils screaming out bloody murder. I'm about to close the curtain. Mama grind, bitch, I'm working. Sorry, all them lies, it ain't working. Them niggas weak, they be churching. I'm a West nigga, that's for certain. They cross the line, I'ma back up and I'ma hit his ass with this virus. And I come through 300 strong, 144 Leonidas. All my niggas we eat. I'm in this bitch with the itis. Say all y'all do the street. Tell y'all let's do the street. The nigga made the wrong move when he make his ass out the league. He ain't one of us hit the league. He ain't one of us here preach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas go retreat. Go ahead. Look, I keep it low to the T. UBK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet. Got soldiers on deck, and my youngin' did a sweep. This a whole nother wave. Tell him get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Nigga, come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat.
You see this look that's on my face, bitch, I'm for real with it. I hit the streets, put on my cleats, was in the field with it. You soft as cotton, just an actor, Uncle Phil with it. And then my targets on the move, bitch, I can still hit it. Hey, I speak true cause it's necessary. Gullah Jack revolutionary. Cold on them like January. Commander General is a visionary. Soul food, no sweets. Your preacher man, he's sweet. Matter of fact, he weak. It's wartime for peace. Think you hard, nigga, you ain't. Fuck with us, nigga, you can't. You smart cars, we take. We form up in ranks. We body bag this rap shit. All black, no bright shit. Real life, no cap, bitch. Fall on them, that's cap shit.
I keep it low to the T. UBK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet. Got soldiers on deck, and my youngin' did a sweep. This a whole nother wave. Tell him get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Nigga, come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Go ahead.
Peace.